Hi, Fabio. Let's take a look at your new set of essays, okay? Let's see. This is about fathers staying home, mothers working, and it's a two-question essay. So what could the reasons be, and is it positive or negative? Let's see what you said. Experts are out both developing and careful here because it's world, right? So it needs to be the developing and developed world. So, they, developing and developed world, have debated about the reasons why, in these days, mothers go to work. Instead, fathers remain at home to take care of their babies. Okay, so apart from you're missing the A here, the here, there's a problem with all of these commas. You see, what commas do is they make the eye visually pause. It's almost like you're stepping on the brakes when you're reading. Do you know what I mean? So, we only use commas if we really need them or if they help clarify meaning. Here, you didn't really need them. And there were also a couple of other like word choices that I thought were a little strange. So I want to look at this sentence again. As you know, the first sentence and the introduction, they're important because they're really creating the first impression of your writing. And that's kind of going to inform the examiner's opinion about what you're writing. So let's look at this again. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated the reasons why mothers go to work while fathers remain at home to take care of their children. Babies is very specific. Okay. This isn't just about babies. Babies implies infants, like under 1 year old. So this clearly says children. So I changed this to while. Um, and then I understand you want to say in these days, but that was also awkward. So I took it out. It should go somewhere else, and it should just be these days, not in these days. Let's see. How can we fix it? Let me look at it one more time. We're spending a ton of time on one sentence, so I apologize, but let's do it right. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated the reasons why nowadays mothers go to work while fathers remain at home to take care of their children. That's all right. No, not for my personal view. You could say in my view, that would be okay. Or you could have also said my personal view is this change is good. See, you don't need to say both my personal view and I believe. They're basically doing the same thing. So you're being repetitive here. So why don't we get rid of that and just say, I believe that this change is good for the education of the children and for the family. This essay will argue my personal opinion using examples from uh, the UK government and Oxford University to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, so you stated your opinion, and that's good. You didn't say that you're going to discuss the reasons. So that concerns me. This isn't supposed to be just about your opinion. It's also supposed to supply the reasons. So what you should have said here is this essay will discuss the reasons for this trend and explain my personal opinion or argue my personal opinion using examples, etc., etc. All right. But do include in your introduction that, okay, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I saw that you asked for this. I will include it in my essay. Okay. So there is ample evidence that in recent years, family members have changed their responsibilities compared to those of the past. Usually, the mother was responsible. Not really usually. Uh, okay, fine. Let's just leave it for now. Usually, the mother was responsible for the care of the children, and the father, mother was responsible, and the father earned money for the family. Nowadays, the situation has turned around. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, women risk losing their job due to pregnancy. So any ambitious of professional careers. That, I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means. For this motivation, they need to restart working as soon as possible. Okay. Governments are trying to find a solution to help fathers to spend, not pass, more time with their sons or daughters because they spend too double O here, much time at work. For example, recent empirical research by the UK government demonstrated that nowadays English fathers pass 40% more time with their children than 10 years ago. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that in the last years, children again pass more time, spend more time with their father, and that the mother spends more time at work. Okay, so obviously we had a number of grammatical mistakes here and lexical mistakes. So those for me are the weakest areas here. I wasn't really clear on what you were trying to say about the reasons for why mothers are going to work. That wasn't so clearly expressed. What I understand is that women are worried about losing their jobs when they get pregnant. And so, because many of them are focused on work and career, they return to their jobs as quickly as possible. That's what I think you were trying to say. I think you needed to state it more clearly. And then this didn't really so this didn't really explain it very well. You said that the governments are trying to do this, but I didn't really understand how or why they're doing this. And so I thought this was kind of not really fully developed. Um, let's see. Governments are trying to find a solution to help fathers spend more time with their sons or daughters because they spend too much at work. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I thought you didn't really develop this very well, or not really enough, is what I mean. So, why do they have this concern? What's the reason? So what are they doing, in other words, to help this happen? So I really had some questions here. Well, the one thing I am really happy about, though, in this paragraph is that you addressed both issues: why mothers are working, why fathers are staying home. So that was really good. This way, it shows us that you're including all parts of the task, and that's very important. But as I said, I thought that the task achievement, I thought there were some gaps in the arguments, and also grammar and lexis were a problem as well. So let's look at the rest of the essay. Personally, I believe that this new situation can affect families positively, or even better, can positively affect families. Spell this correctly and no on. This is largely because fathers can have a positive effect on the children's growth. For instance, an extensive study by Oxford University showed that children can improve up to 30% faster. Careful here with your word order. Children can improve their logical skills up to 30% faster thanks to a longer presence with their father. Furthermore, mothers with a job means a better financial situation of the entire family. So uh, so this is a higher likelihood. So there is a highly likelihood of a better family style. You can't really say higher likelihood and guarantee. Either one or the other here. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that this new development benefits the entire family. All right, I thought you developed this really well. I thought you did a nice job of this. Um, it was coherent. It made sense. Yes, there were errors. Okay. But as far as the task achievement and the coherence and cohesion are concerned, I thought you did good. I think you did a good job. All right. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that this new split in the responsibilities between father and mother has a positive development on children and on the entire family. It is predicted that fathers will, again, with their babies, their children, not their babies, and that mothers will have more time to dedicate to work, not the work, just work. Okay. So, yes, good in the areas that we talked about. I thought the second half of the second half of the essay was better. You did a really good job with it. The first half had the errors that we talked about. So, let's take a look at your rainfall task. 1, The line graph shows the amount of rain fallen in England, Scotland, and Wales in 2018. A closer look at the graph reveals that from January to April, Scotland was characterized by a high level of fluctuations. In February, careful with your spelling, it reached its lowest level at 20 ml. Then in March, the amount, careful with your spelling, of rainfall and rocketed to here 125 and then dropped again to 40. Until September, there was a constant growth in the amount of rainfall, which reached again its peak before crashing at just over 50 in November. Wales registered its lowest rainfall in April at 25 after it had slight growth in February. Careful with your spelling. In the following months, there was a boom of rainfall, so it reached its peak at 125 in July. In November, it passed again the amount of 100 after it leveled off at 45 for 3 months. In England, the rainfall remained constantly around 100 ml for all the year, so there were fewer fluctuations here. The peak was registered in July, 125 ml, as in Wales, and its lowest level in June at 75 ml. Overall, it is clear that England was the country with the highest amount of rain during the year. Although Scotland had high levels of fluctuations, Wales was the country with the lowest level of rainfall compared to the others. Okay, so one of the things that I would have liked here is if you had more paragraphs. You really included a ton of information in this one paragraph. I think it would have I think it would have been a better idea to organize this in shorter paragraphs. You don't need to put all 3 countries and their graphs like in one paragraph. So you could have split it into 2. That would have been a good thing to do, or maybe even 3. But typically we suggest 2 detailed paragraphs. So okay, there was problems with the grammar and vocabulary. I thought you spent, look at this, you spent a lot of time talking about Scotland. So look at that. Okay. And then you spent this much time talking about Wales, and England had just these 2 sentences. So basically, here's the thing with this, and your overview was fine. So here's the thing with this. You have a ton of information here. And I think that when they look at this, they're kind of overwhelmed. They're like, all right, where do I start? Where do I finish? What do I talk about? So for me, there are several key points in this graph. This is, it shows you an entire year. Okay. So in my mind, this is kind of like a story. And when you are telling a story, or when you're reading a story or hearing a story, there's certain points you want to know. You want to know the beginning of the story, you want to know the end of the story, and then you want to know the key points of the story in the middle. So for me, what would those be? I would probably start with Scotland, since it started the year out at the beginning. And the key points I would mention would be these: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so in other words, the beginning, the low, those 2 peaks, and then the end. For England, same thing again. The beginning, so point 1, the low, point 2, and then points 3, 4, and 5 are my peaks, and it's also the end. So for Wales, I would go there next, since it was the lowest. And you kind of want to say that it started out the year at the lowest, because that's interesting. So point 1, point 2, point 3, nope, sorry, point 3, point 4, because this is the only place where we have any stability, and then point 5. Those are the important things to mention here. It's interesting because it ended the year pretty much where it started the year. And so these are the kinds of things that you want to point out. Okay, so you want to point out what the peaks are, what the lows are. You want to point out this plateau. Those are the things that are really key for me. So that's just some information to help you on how to organize this. Okay. All right. So keep working at this. You're doing well. I know you're working hard. So keep at it. I hope this is helpful. I want you to work on your accuracy a little more. Okay. So try to improve that. And we'll meet back here with another set of essays. Good luck.